Alright guys, today we're going to talk about Musashi Miyamoto. I'm sure you know how this goes by now. In real life, she's a man. In the Fate verse, she's a MILF. So, Musashi was born in Miyamoto village to a samurai named Musashi. Now, as a father, Musashi didn't want his kid to grow up and make the family look bad, so he passed on his knowledge about martial arts. One lesson focused on kenjutsu, while the other gave attention to jitjutsu. And what do you know? Looks like she had some talent. However, their time together would soon come to a close. Lord Soken issued an order for Musashi to take the life of his own student. Because of this, Musashi was forced to move to another village, and Musashi was sent to Shorien Temple to live with her uncle Doran. Yo, Uncle D, what up? Musashi? What the Musashi know I don't fuck with kids? Hey Musashi, what's going on, girl? And through her uncle's guidance, she was able to learn the art of Zen Buddhism, general studies, and other fields. At the age of 13, she entered a public challenge against Kihei Arima. After signing up for this fight, a messenger came to the temple and told them that Kihei had accepted her match. Her uncle started freaking out. Apparently, he thought she was too young. I didn't think they would actually come. Why'd you sign up in the first place? I wanted to test my skills. I can handle it. You can handle it. And what if you don't? What happens when he hands you your ass on a hefty plate? You think I look good walking around with your ass cheeks in my hand? So her uncle tries to call off the duel, and Kihei said the only way she can get off the hook is by apologizing. So the duel came, and her uncle is trying to apologize in her place. And while he's doing this, she ran up to Kihei, threw him on the ground, and beat him to death. Turns out that Kihei actually wasn't that good at fighting to begin with. He was just some scrub trying to get his skills up. So time goes on, and now Musashi has left the temple to pursue her dream of becoming Japan's greatest swordsman. However, this dream would soon be placed on the back burner. During this time, the Toyotomi and the Tokugawa were beefing over some territory. This was known as the Battle of Sekigahara. Since Musashi's family was allied with the Toyotomi, it's only natural that she fought alongside their people. After the battle, she continues to wander Japan, having duels, meeting masters, perfecting her skills. Eventually, she arrived in Kyoto, and when she got there, she started a series of duels with the Yoshioka clan. These guys were known for having one of the most prominent kenjutsu in their region, but that didn't stop Musashi. In fact, it influenced her to challenge the master of the entire school, Seijiro Yoshioka. As a part of her strategy, Musashi would show up to a fight at the wrong time to unnerve her opponent. Just as she planned, Seijiro was pissed. They fought with wooden swords. The moment the fight started, Musashi hit Seijiro's shoulder so hard that he fell to the ground and broke his left arm. He was ashamed. So ashamed that he hung up his jersey that same day and retired fighting for good. Now his brother wants revenge. That's always fun. Musashi had a wooden sword, his brother had a quarterstaff. With no effort, she disarmed his brother and defeated him. You would think that this would tell them to wrap it up, but no. Now the third guy wants revenge again. It's like, how many L's I gotta hand out in this bitch? And you can tell they were desperate this time because the guy that wanted revenge was 12 years old. Unfortunately for him, Musashi does not discriminate. And this time, the Yoshioka wanted to have the duel at night. Now, personally, I found this to be pretty suspicious. And Musashi must have felt the same way because instead of showing up late, she showed up early. Extremely early. Turns out, this little motherfucker showed up with a squad. Like, yo, what happened to the one-on-one? Swordsmen, riflemen, archers, just waiting to unload on my girl. Well, it's a good thing I hid in these bushes. And you know what? She felt like they were trying to play her. So, as soon as the moment was right, she ran up and cut the boy's head off. With the death of the final brother, the entire branch of the school was single-handedly destroyed. Now all the people that came with the boy are trying to surround Musashi. You know, I'd love to stay here with you fellas, but I gotta bounce. It was at that moment that she discovered the Niten Ichi Ryu. See, up until this point, it was traditional for samurai to only use one sword at a time, but due to Musashi being outnumbered by dozens of men, she had to improvise with two. With that being said, she utilized this newfound style to fend off her enemies and then dip out afterwards. She continued to wander Japan, and despite running into some of the most renowned warriors, they were no match. Before long, stories would soon emerge about a competent swordsman, Sasaki Kojiro. Contrary to the average, Sasaki carried a great sword and used an unorthodox technique that was predicated on swallows. When she heard about this, she immediately asked Tadaoki Hosokawa to set up a duel. The request was granted and the match was set up on Ganryu Island. Okay, where the hell is she? Bro, you sound kinda irritated. I sound kinda... We've been waiting for 3 hours. I can't even feel my legs. I'm not even sure if I still have legs. It appears that Sasaki and the spectators have been waiting for quite some time. Guess they didn't get the memo that Musashi does this in every fight. She lands on the island. On her way to the fight, she made a wooden sword from an oar that was on her vessel. And just like everybody else, Sasaki had lost his cool due to all the waiting. The moment Musashi arrived, he drew his sword and threw his sheath on the ground. You do realize if you don't use that sheath, you're gonna die, right? To hell with the sheath! Alright, but it's your funeral. She provoked Sasaki into making the first attack. A fatal mistake. Since Musashi had her back against the sun, Sasaki was left blinded. So she took advantage of this situation by dodging his strike and then crushing his skull. She was disappointed, not only because she had taken the life of one of the greatest swordsmen, but truth be told, she was just too damn good. Time passes, and she has now become the retainer for Tadatoshi Hosokawa. For her, it was a big turning point because she started to give more focus to art and meditation. She emphasized how important it was for samurai to gain knowledge about different categories, and how you should respect Buddha and the gods, but at the same time, not rely on them to bail you out during battle. It was also a time where she took in many disciples. People lined up left to right to learn more about her Niten Ichi Ryu style. The technique involved using a katana with the short sword. The short sword encompassed the art of the jute, which would parry her foe's attack, and the katana harnessed the kenjutsu she used for striking. In her eyes, using one sword was impractical, and while there are scenarios where you can make use of a great sword like Sasaki, more often than not, they're probably just gonna hold you back. She was even a shuriken expert, and it's understood that she would incorporate her short swords into this technique. Unfortunately, as the years went by, she began to suffer from sudden attacks to her nerves. Feeling that her time was coming to an end, she retired to Reigondo Cave and wrote her most notable work, the Book of Fire Rings. In this highly revered piece of art, she goes into detail about her philosophy on martial arts. When it was complete, she gave the manuscript to her closest student and passed away from what is perceived to be lung cancer later that year. Over 60 duels, and not once did she walk away with a single defeat. That about wraps it up. If you enjoyed the video, please like it up so we can get this trending. Feel free to add information as you see fit, and let me know what you guys think about it. It's your boy Tsiah. I'm out.